All right, today we are going to do one more thing in perspective of showing you how to do something that's different than what we've done before. Today we're going to do several things. One, we're going to learn how to do a name in perspective or words, and we're going to move our vanishing points off the paper, and we're going to move our horizon line lower so it looks like it's from a different perspective. So the first thing you're going to do is tape your paper down in a comfortable position so that it's easy to work from, but it doesn't move. After that, I'm going to draw a line across the paper, horizon line, and I'm going to go off the paper onto the table as far as you want on both sides. And then put my vanishing points somewhere outside the paper. Here's my B vanishing point, and here's my C vanishing point, which is off the camera, but just off camera. All right, all three lines still apply. We're using A, B, or a C line. So either the lines go up and down the page, or they go to one of the vanishing points. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an A line, and we're going to draw really big. Right. From the bottom of this, I'm going to go to B. And then I'm going to go from the top and the bottom. I'm going to go to the C vanishing point. All right, so that kind of gives me a starting point. I always start with that front corner. If I'm drawing something from the outside, unlike an inside corner of a room or something, I'll start with the front corner first. All right, next I'm going to put two boxes on the right side, and make your boxes big. It's easier to draw bigger letters than it is to draw tiny ones. All right, so there's three A lines that I put over there. I can erase now the middle, the sections between those. And everything else to the side that doesn't really matter is no longer part of where the letter is going to be. On the left side, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw two lines. There's an A line there and another A line. Kind of the key thing is you want a pretty good gap right here. You want this to be pretty sizable. It'll be easier to draw the 3D part of the letters a little bit later on. All right, so we're simply just going to do the word art, A-R-T, keep it simple. For now, we'll go to more complex letters later on. All right, so A, B, or C line, that's all it's going to take to get this done. And I'm going to start, you decide how thick you want your letters to be. But super thin is not good. It just makes life harder. So there's an A line. Another A line. So these are all parallel. And then to do the top of the A, this is a B line. So the top has to be a B line as well. Put my ruler on the vanishing point, or put my pencil on it, bump, rotate, determine how thick I want this top part to be, and draw a B line right there. For the little cross part of the A, I can determine where I want it to be, and it's a B line. Rotate the ruler, decide how thick you want it to be, and draw another one, another B line. So now I have the letter A. Kind of flat and boring, but it's in perspective using A, B, and C lines. All right, so in this box over here, or in this plane, we're going to put an R, and in this one a T. We're just going to spell out the words art. Just keep it simple. So what I want, I could just guess and just start making the R like I did the A, but I want it to be the same thickness as these parts of the A. So to get that, I'll line up my ruler with a vanishing point, that line, and I just make a little dot on this corner. Rotate down to the A, and then make a dot there. Rotate down to the bottom part of that little cross piece, and make a dot there. So these will tell me where to start lines in the R. I'm going to just guess at how thick I want it to be. Line up my ruler with the top or the bottom of the paper. Make an A line. And from here, we use that dot and draw a C line. And then I come down to the next dot, second dot, and then the third dot. All right. And then I'm just going to determine how thick I want the back of the R to be. There's technical ways to do this, but for now, we're just being an art style. And at this point, I have the letter P. All right. So to make this P into an R, I'm just going to put this leg on it, and it needs to rest on the bottom, and it can start and originate anywhere along this line. And you decide, you put that where you want to. And then these lines, this line and this line, need to be parallel. So you just kind of eyeball it, and when you think they're parallel, you draw that line. And now I have the letter R. I can erase all the boxes around it, all the lines that are no longer part of the letter anymore. All right. To get the T, I need to do several things. One, I just need a top part. This can be the same as this line, but I also need to find out the center of this. You can measure this and find the middle, find halfway, but that's really not the center on a perspective drawing. So the easiest way to do it is to very lightly draw an X from corner to corner, and that gives me the center of that plane. And so from here, I'll make the tall part of the T that comes up from the ground. So a line going through, an A line going through this is the center, and then a C line going through the center would be the center as well. For the top of the T, I'm using this part of the R again, and then transferring it over into this plane. And these are staying the same and getting smaller as they go back in space. For the upright part of the T, I'm just going to draw a couple of A lines. And you can just determine how thick you want it to be. Try to keep it proportionate to the rest of the drawing. But I'm going on either side of that center point. And now I have my T, and I can erase all the extras. The X should always be drawn lightly because it always gets erased. All right, so now I have three letters in perspective, and they go around a corner. We come up here, turn a corner. All right, we have a creative way of somewhat writing this word. All right, so this is flat, and to make it a 3D letter, we've got to go back in space. On this side, everything goes to C, so to give it depth, everything on the back side of the letter has to go to B, the opposite of the A. So the easiest way to do that is I put my ruler on the vanishing point, and I just go around to every corner of the letter. And if I can go in space, I draw a line. All right. This corner right here is going into space, so I can draw a line. If I go to this corner of the letter A, all right, it's actually going across the letter, the face of the letter, so I don't use that one. And if I rotate down to this corner, it goes across the face, so I don't do it. We'll go do the hole in the middle of the letter A. This corner goes across the face, no line. This corner goes into space, so it has a line. This corner right here goes across the face, so no line. Across the face from this corner, no line. So that's all we can do for the inside. All right. Now, we've got two more lines right. We've got to get the depth, and we've got to get the tops of the parts where we can see up underneath the letter. You decide how deep you want to make it. That's totally up to you. But what you're going to do from here is you're going to draw an A line, because this is an A line. And you meet those, when those two cross, that's this corner right here. And then this part of it is a B line, because that's a B line, and those are parallel. To keep the same depth at the top of the letter, we move up. Just transfer this to the top. And where these two cross, that'll be an intersection. And from this intersection, I go to B. So that gives me the inside letter of the A, and I can see up into that, so I can see those surfaces. All right. On the top, on the outside, we're going to do the same thing as we did here. These are going to C, C, and C, so the outside has to go to C as well to give it depth. So this corner goes into space. I rotate it up. This corner goes into space, so I'm drawing lines. This corner of the A goes across the face of the letter, so no line. This line across the face of the letter, no line. Same with these two. All these over here go across the face, so those can't. There's not a C line there. So to determine how deep the letter A is, I want it to be the same as this side. So I'm going to go from B through this intersection and out to here. And that will give me that depth. So wherever that is on that line, right? So I want to repeat that. I put my ruler on B. I rotate it till it's through this intersection here. And wherever it crosses this C line, that's where the depth of the letter A is. From here I just draw an A line. And wherever it crosses that line, those two lines there, that's the depth of the A. So now I have an A with in perspective in two different directions. It's two-point perspective this way and two-point perspective this way for depth. Next, I'm going to do the same for the R. And on this one, I'm going to start with the outside. And I'm going to go back towards B. All right. And on this bottom corner, I go to B. And then you can determine how deep you want it to be. And this gap right here changes. These two lines that we drew from the beginning, these two lines, however wide you make that, determines how this letter really looks on your paper. And so these lines cross each other. So I determine what I want to be on top and erase so there's overlap. Okay, so that gives you the back of the R. So to determine how deep it is on this part of the R, I'm going to go from C to this corner. and draw a very light line. This is all happening behind the letter, so we're not going to see it. From this corner, I'm going to go to B. All right, where these two lines cross, right back here, right, that's the depth of the box. Keep that moving down into the inside of the R. I'm just going to drop an A line in here. All right. And then from this corner, I go to B. And then where these two lines cross is an intersection. And this goes to C out here. Okay, I'm back at it. We're going to restart the R a little bit. It got confusing, so I wanted to stop and get things right before I went forward with the video. So we got this back part. This is a B line. This is a B line, A line, and then we erase the part of the A, so there's overlap, which helps give us depth. So from here, we got to get this C line, this B line, and this A line in here, and then we'll work on the leg in a minute. It's kind of a little bit confusing. You got to start seeing boxes in 3D. The more you do it, the easier this gets. And sometimes it's even confusing for people that have been doing it for a long time. So I've got to know how long to make this B line. And I can just guess, or I can do other things to make it exactly right. And the way to do that is I put my ruler on C. I'm going to draw this line up here, and that's the dot I used originally. From here, I rotate over to B, and I put a dot, all right? So that gives me this line going all the way out and then back if I wanted to. And from here, what I do, put my ruler on C, line it up with this second dot way back here at the back, and I draw this line here, the C line. And that'll give me the exact same depth as this depth. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just guess. It is an art class, so you get to be creative in that way. It just needs to look cool. All right, so from here, I'm going to go from this corner. I'm going to go to B, and that determines this intersection right here. And from this point, where that intersection is, I draw an A line, and that tells me how deep this part is. So again, to go over that again, there's a C line, all right? It goes up to this point, and I make a dot, a B line to this point, and I make a dot, and then from here, I go from this dot to C, which is off the camera, and I get this line right here. B line for this intersection, and then A line straight down. All right? All right, the leg of the R is kind of hard because it doesn't follow an A, B, or C line. But what I can do is I can get the depth right, because this line right, this is a C line. It's going to this corner of the R, right, and it tells me how deep. I can't go past that line because that's how deep it is going back. And from this corner, I go to B. And then that's going to give me the intersection of where this happens. So from this point, I'm going to look at my ruler, and I'm going to, this line, and this line are all parallel. So I'm going to rotate my ruler until they're pretty close to parallel, and draw a line up. And that takes care of the R. R is almost done. We got to get this part because it's above the horizon line. So from this corner, I'm going to go back to B. Until I run into the letter. All right, and that's where I stop. So now that is officially the letter R. It's all done. All right, do T. It's a kind of a simple one compared to R. It's nice to end on a simple note. From all these points on the outside, I'm going to go back to B. And I'm just going to draw a line back, and a lot of it gets erased. If you notice, all these corners are going off into space. If I go to this corner and try to draw a line back to B, it goes across the face, so I can't draw it. This one would go across the face, I can't draw it. But this one goes off into space, and I can draw it. This corner goes across the face, so I can't do that. All right, so I've got what's about to be the depth of the T. If I'm going to make it the same as the R, this same depth is here, I just borrow this line, that's the depth of the R, line up my ruler with the vanishing point and this line, and then just connect what lines I have. All right, I'll get this line right here, and I would also get this line, but it hides behind that part of the T. And from here, it's just connect the dots with an A line. And that's simply how you get the T. Sometimes some letters are easier than others. But there's all three letters, right, in 2-point perspective. This depth, it looks smaller than this, but it's getting smaller in space, so it gets squished more. And now we have the word art in 2-point perspective. All right? Okay, so that's what we did today in class. We'll work again on this on Friday and see where we go. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. All right, one quick addition. I went through with the Sharpie, drew over all the lines that mattered and counted, and then took an eraser and cleaned it up. It's a lot easier to do when there's permanent lines there. It makes a little more sense. It makes for a little bit of a cleaner drawing. And then I'll put the horizon line back in. Hopefully I won't mess up on this. I'll stop at all the right points. So this is a line that goes behind in the background. All right. So now we got the letters in space better. They're sitting on the ground. They're up in the air. The horizon line is low. That makes it look like we're sort of an ant looking up at a drawing. So that's what we're doing. All right, carry on.